They called him the Prince of Darkness, but no one expected to see him so dimmed. When Geezer Butler walked into that final rehearsal room before the last Black Sabbath show, what he saw wasn't Ozzy the legend. It was Ozzy the man, fragile, quiet, and facing the final curtain call. This isn't just a story about rock music. It's about what happens when the amps go silent, the stage lights dim, and legends remind us they're mortal too. Here are 10 powerful moments from Ozzy Osbourne's final days and how they shook the very foundation of metal. Number 1. The final rehearsal room reveal. Geezer knew Ozzy wasn't doing great, but what he saw before that final show hit harder than any riff Tony Iommi ever played. Ozzy needed 3 people, including a nurse, just to enter the room. And yes, in true Ozzy fashion, the cane he leaned on was black, gold-studded, and absolutely ridiculous. Still, the swagger couldn't hide the truth. The prince was crumbling. Let's just say this was no ordinary warm-up before a farewell. Number 2. Singing from the throne. Ozzy didn't even stand while singing. He sat in a chair, trying to conserve what little energy he had left. After just 6 or 7 songs, you could see the exhaustion written all over him like worn-out lyrics in a backstage notebook. This wasn't performance fatigue. This was the end approaching, slowly, quietly. Number 3. A voice that once roared. If you ever heard Ozzy rant, you know the man had a lot to say. But in that final rehearsal, he was quiet, strangely quiet. Not the usual Ozzy chaos, not the firecracker, not the wild child. Just a man, tired, maybe aware. This was his last ride. And silence? It says a lot. Number 4. The awkward final bow. Here's the thing. Black Sabbath shows usually end with hugs, bows, a brotherhood of chaos. But at their final concert in Birmingham, Ozzy was seated on a literal throne, and nobody had planned for that. So what do? Shake his hand? Bring a cake? That's what Geezer did. But even the cake felt like a whisper compared to the noise they once made. It wasn't the bang fans expected. It was more of a whisper goodbye. Number 5. A legend's regret. Geezer later wrote, "I wish I'd had more time backstage with Ozzy, but wishes are redundant now." And if that didn't hit you in the chest, wait till you hear the Ozzy quote he ended with. Wish in one hand and shit in the other, and see which comes first. The edge of death. The man knew how to throw a punchline. Number 6. Heart of darkness and gold. For all the bat-biting, drug-fueled chaos, Ozzy had one thing people forget: a heart that could melt steel. When Geezer's son was born with a heart defect, Ozzy called him every single day, even though they hadn't spoken in a year. Behind the eyeliner and the madness was a friend who always showed up when it counted. Number 7. Death was quiet. Too quiet. Ozzy passed away on July 22nd at 76. No drama. No headlines exploding mid-concert. Just peace. Surrounded by his family in England, the country that birthed both the man and the myth. The one who once screamed to sold-out stadiums slipped away in stillness. Number 8. But that final show, it brought him back. People close to Ozzy say that his final Black Sabbath concert re-energized him. For a moment, just a brief one, the old Ozzy flickered back to life. The fire roared, the crowd screamed, and he was the prince again. It was like watching a dying flame burst into one last glorious blaze. Number 9. The body that couldn't keep up. His decline wasn't sudden. Ozzy had been battling pain for decades. A brutal quad bike crash in 2003 wrecked his spine. In 2022, he announced he could no longer walk properly and was prepping for life-altering surgery. So yeah, the voice might have survived, but the body, it had taken too many hits. Number 10. The throne wasn't just a prop. At that final show, Ozzy didn't just sit on a throne because it looked cool. It was necessity. That throne symbolized everything. A man who had ruled rock like a king, now forced to sit through his own farewell. It wasn't staged, it was reality. Brutal, raw, and heartbreakingly human. So the next time you play War Pigs or Iron Man, don't just crank the volume. Remember the man behind the madness, the icon who made metal dangerous, and eventually showed us how even the wildest flames burn out. If this story moved you, hit that like button like you're smashing a power chord. Subscribe for more stories that bring legends to life and death. And hey, drop a comment with your favorite Ozzy moment, because legacies live on when we tell the stories that matter.